Today, Baba is telling us that he has come to change us from thorns to flowers and change this jungle of thorns to the garden of flowers. Baba says that right now this world is like a jungle of thorns, and in Satyug we would say the world is a garden of flowers. And Baba says that I have come to shift this world and transform you from a thorn to a flower. And what is the quality of thorns and flowers? So thorns give sorrow and flowers give happiness. So you see, when you come in contact with a thorn, it pinches you, it hurts you, and thorns give sorrow. And when you are in the company of flowers, flowers through their fragrance, their sweetness, their beauty, they give you happiness. So Baba says, I have come to change you from thorns to flowers. Now you see that this is a world of sorrow, and there is no flower in this world, and there is nobody who is happy or giving happiness. Yes, so our whole idea of happiness is very flawed. So whatever we think is happiness is not happiness, because in this world everybody is giving sorrow in the name of happiness. This is a world of thorns, world of sorrow. So happiness is a very new concept. It's a new thing that Baba introduces us to. You see, in this world, we don't even entertain the idea of absolute happiness. We live in a world where we think that absolute happiness is impossible. And when Baba says happiness, Baba is talking about permanent happiness, absolute happiness. So these things don't exist in this world. So when Baba says that you become flowers and give happiness, we have to understand that. Yes, sometimes we think that if I give happiness, then the person in front of me will have the ability to recognize that I'm giving them happiness, and they will be full of great gratitude towards me. But that's not necessary, because the whole idea of happiness is so flawed that we have to understand what sorrow and happiness is. And when we give happiness, most of the times people can't appreciate that, because the whole idea is distorted. Now let me tell you one story that we hear in Bhakti. So there is the story of a little child who stole something when he was in school. He stole some pencil or some eraser. And then his mother encouraged that. She did not say that this is wrong. So the child felt very happy. And then the child started stealing small to bigger stuff. And then he became a culprit criminal. And then when he was once being tried, hanged to death for some big crime he committed. So then he had a lot of anger towards his mother. Now you see, Because, so in the long run, you understand what is giving you happiness and what is giving you sorrow. And when you're body conscious, you don't understand what is sorrowful and what is happy. Because we are conditioned to believe that whatever makes you lazy by keeping you in comfort, whatever makes you, not take responsibility, whatever makes you, not make effort, whatever gives you sensual pleasure is happiness. But that is not so. Because if you become like that, then you are not worthy of receiving peace, happiness, and prosperity in life. So, we understand that the law of attraction says that you get what you deserve, or you attract whatever is your worth. But we do not make effort to become worthy. And becoming worthy is very difficult. It requires effort. Becoming worthy is not easy. So Baba says that first I have to understand the difference between sorrow and happiness. Because in the world of sorrow, we do not know what is the formula for happiness. And Baba is the bestower of happiness, remover of sorrow. And Baba comes and gives us directions. And Baba says that you churn on knowledge, you remember me, burn your sins, you imbibe virtues, and then you serve everyone, receive blessings. And that is the method to be happy. Yes, so if you burn your sins, then happiness emerges from within. Have you seen that if you are very regular with your yoga and you are remembering Baba accurately and very regularly, then you feel lighter and happier inside. And that happiness which is always lost, when you make contact with people, places, and things, that is not happening very easily. And you are able to emerge your state of happiness and retain that. So this is one method to be happy. Then Baba says that fill yourself with divine virtues. Yes, remove defects. Defects make you lose happiness. Yes, so you see the 5 main defects: lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. They make you lose your happiness. Another defect is the defect of seeing defects. Yes, it makes you lose your happiness. So just see how much of happiness are you losing because of these defects inside you. Just think about somebody who has the sanskar of lust. They are never content. They need constant sensual pleasure. And that is such a big form of, sorrow. Or somebody who has anger and they tend to, lose their sensibility and get worked up and heated and angry at even about small things. Somebody not doing their duty right, you get angry and then you are burning your blood. And so what is that? That is a form of being unhappy. And then Baba says that just look at greed. The one in Hindi we say, Lobhi nar kangal hai, dukh pavat dukh det. So the one who is greedy is always, he's always bankrupt. So he never feels that I have something. And they keep taking sorrow all the time because, they are always, they are not grateful about what they have. but they are always thinking about what they don't have and what they want. And that becomes a form of sorrow. If your mind is full of desire and wants, and those wants are giving you constant feeling of discontentment, that's such a big form of unhappiness. And then you see attachment and expectations. Now you are attached to your idea of how everyone should be and what everyone should do and how everyone should respond. And then they are doing it according to their sanskars. And there is always a gap between your expectations and your reality. And then you are always unhappy. And then ego, you see, uh, feeling disrespected, feeling insulted, feeling not appreciated, not recognized. You are creating these feelings inside you, and they are making you so unhappy. Or, seeing defects in somebody else. So somebody is, having a defect, and then you are looking at that defect and churning within, why does this person not work on themselves, or why is this defect there, or what are the consequences of this defect, and then how it is causing loss and trouble and inconvenience. And then all of this is troubling you. That person is just being themselves. And then, according to situations also, you are taking sorrow. So Baba says all this is being unhappy. And you see, if you can only give what you have. So how do you give happiness? Only when you are happy within. You have happiness within you. And you cannot have happiness until and unless you burn all your sins, or you remove these defects from within. And then to create happiness, you have to do good karma. If if you just give, mansa seva also, you just are serving through the mind, or you do anything which is, seva, anything which is done selflessly and for world benefit. Through your words, you're giving somebody some good directions of Baba, or you are serving through your wealth, or you are serving through your body. Everything will give you happiness. So Baba comes and gives us the idea of happiness. And Baba always tells us one thing, that if you have to ask what super sensuous joy or happiness is like, then you have to ask my children. Yes, so why does Baba say that? Because happiness is only tasted by those who follow Baba's Srimad. In the world, people don't know what happiness is. They never taste super sensuous happiness. In the world, there is never absolute happiness. There is always happiness and fear, happiness and worry. Because your happiness is coming from some object, some person, something, or some situation. And then there is also fear that this should stay the same. This shouldn't change, because you know that in an ever-changing world, everything is changeable. So there is never pure happiness in the world. So Baba says, you are the ones who are studying and being sustained by the bestower of happiness. And you have to fill yourself with, the power of knowledge. So you see, even knowledge, it dispels most of our sorrow. So when you understand that you are taking sorrow and you stop taking sorrow, then also lot of your happiness is, conserved. So knowledge makes you aware of how much you are taking sorrow because of ignorance, or how much you are, becoming recipient of sorrow because of your actions. So what are you doing that is making you sorrowful? And when you understand that, imbibe that, and stop doing that, and you start doing what gives happiness, then you start. So, in the world, if you tell people, do what makes you happy, they go and create pots and pans, and they flower, they'll work in some, they'll just, spend some money and go to a spa and relax themselves. But okay, that's temporary. It's not like you can't do it, you can do it. But know that that's not happiness, that's just sensual pleasure, that's comfort. So, comfort and sensual pleasure and happiness shouldn't be confused with each other. Happiness is not dependent on people and situations. Comfort and sensual pleasure is. So, Baba says, I come and change you from thorns to flowers because I fill you with, I tell you the methods through which you can fill yourself with happiness. And until you have happiness, you can't give happiness. So until you work on yourselves, you can't give happiness. You can't give happiness through your thoughts. You can't give happiness through your words. You can't give happiness through your actions. Why do you think people are giving sorrow to each other in such big ways? Because they are unhappy within. And whatever you have, so if you are not filling yourself with the power of knowledge, yoga, not burning your sins, not working on your own defects, you think that, everybody else has defects and I don't have defects, or you are not serving and filling yourself with blessings, then you cannot be somebody who gives happiness. That's not possible. So you see, have you noticed that even in thoughts, you can't look at somebody's, goodness, or you're not able to stop thinking in a critical way. And you're not able to stop thinking about somebody's defects and weaknesses. Why? Because there is no happiness within. So only a flower can radiate fragrance. So you have to have fragrance to radiate it. You cannot give what you don't have. So Baba first tells us how to change from a thorn to a flower. And Baba tells us that, remove your defects. And Baba says the number one defect is lust. So the number one defect that makes you a thorn is lust. And Baba says, don't give reasons for, that I can't get over lust because of these circumstances, or, because there is resistance from the partner, or this or that. Because Baba says, one thing you have to remember is, whatever you are doing for yourself. Because only when you become a flower can you go to the garden of flowers. You can go to heaven. So if you have to do something for yourself, and something that Baba says, you are not doing any favor to me by following Srimad. Whatever favor you are doing is to yourself. And Baba says, even if you have to tolerate a little, even if you have to, make some adjustments, do it. It's a big deal. Getting over the thorn of lust is a big deal. And, sometimes I feel very, amazed that if there are, Baba's children will call and then they will share that they are not able to observe even celibacy. And why? Because they say that, my partner is not happy when I observe celibacy, or they abuse, or they complain. So then I always ask, what do you think they should do? What do you expect from them? And why do you expect that they should be happy about you being celibate? They won't be happy about it because that's their conditioning. They are not into Gyan. But why is it affecting you so much? So why can't you just listen to some abuse or something that somebody is giving you? That's fine. Why can't you just, in a very peaceful manner accept all of that? Yes, so, yesterday there's this one Mata, and she was asking me that my husband takes away all my money. And then if I don't give him, he beats me up. So I said, okay, so there is a choice. You either get beaten up or you go bankrupt. So if he beats you also, you don't have to give your money. How much will he beat you? You know, try to protect yourself and try to, save yourself from that beating. But that doesn't mean that you give away all your money. Because you see, you have to understand that when you have to do something for yourself, then you have to tolerate something or face something or, use your powers. And otherwise, you will just keep blaming situations and people for your bad choices. But everybody has a choice. But that choice doesn't come without using your powers. You have to use your powers to tolerate or face or accommodate or. So if you don't use your powers, how will you, get over lust, anger, ego, even anger? You have to use your powers of knowledge, use your powers of yoga, so that use your power to transform, so that you transform your attitude towards a situation enough that it doesn't trigger anger in you. So Baba says that you have to make effort to become free from defects. You have to make effort to fill yourself with the knowledge, with the power of knowledge and yoga and good wishes and blessings through seva. And when you do that, then you will become a fragrant flower. And Baba says, if you don't want to, be affected by Maya, then just keep checking. Are there any defects in me? Yes. How many of you check for your defects? Mostly, we keep looking at others' defects. And then you need the ability to see defects also. Just see, these two eyes don't have the ability to see every bacteria or virus that is around you. So you need a microscope to see that. Similarly, you need a very refined intellect to see your defects. And Baba talks about defects in the Murli. But we need a refined intellect. We need introversion. We need to look within and check whether there is a defect in me, because there is this big sanskar of not looking at our own defects and looking at everybody else's defects. So am I looking at my defects? And what do you do after you figure out that you have a defect? So just like, so when somebody learns how to be a surgeon, then they learn how to be a surgeon, and then they apply that learning to doing surgical operations on different parts of the body. Yes, so surgery has to be learned. Similarly, the internal surgery is done through knowledge and yoga. And then Baba says you have to apply that tool to different defects. So for example, if I have a defect of seeing defects of others, then I have to sit in yoga and train myself to see the qualities of others. And I have to, first see Baba's qualities, and then come to the awareness that every soul is very unique and has a unique set of qualities. And I train myself to see the qualities of everyone. Or I have the defect of lust, then I have to fill myself with the power of purity in yoga and emerge that pure state. And then when I come into actions, I have to take care that I perform pure actions. So Baba says, recognize your defects, identify your defects, and, get over those defects. Remove those defects. Check every day. Am I performing any sin through thought, word, and act? Now, how do you know it's a sin? Through knowledge, you have to see. whether you are performing any sinful thought, word, or act. Because you see, when you are playing your part in this stage, you are having so many influences that you become body conscious, and whatever you do, you don't understand that it's against Srimad. You justify it by saying, the situation demanded this, or this was a problem, or that happened, or this happened. But Baba says that even if 100 things happened and there were 100 reasons, but you don't have to perform any sin. And if I am performing any sin, then that means that my defect is not being removed. So if you check yourself that deeply, then you will be able to become a fragrant flower. Because Maya will always, if you have not removed, and of course, not all our defects are removed. So Maya will always trick you into doing something sinful. And Maya will tell you that it was because of the situation, it was because it was too much, because it was too difficult to handle, and you did your best, but you couldn't, and that's okay. But you don't have to listen to Maya. And know your defects more and more, so that you have greater interest in churning on knowledge and greater interest in having yoga with Baba, so that you can remove your defects. So, there's this one sister, and she used to tell me that my sister is very greedy and she's after my father's property. So, whenever I talk to her, I have bad feelings, and then I shout at her, and I'm rude to her, and then I don't even ask for a cup of tea when she comes home or she visits me. I don't even offer her a cup of tea. So I said that, and by doing all this, will your father's property become yours? So she said no. So I said, then she will take the property and you will spoil your karma also. So, okay, I understand that there is a feud, and but okay, that property is your apple of discord, and you are not able to be, you're not able to bring that problem to a solution. That is one thing. But then why are you spoiling your karma because of that? Because this karma is going to give you unlimited property. And then you are not concerned about this also. So how will you get limited property? You sowed this seed in Sangam Yuga only, na? In Sangam Yuga, you are not concerned about unlimited property. In your concern for limited property, you are losing your unlimited property. So that is why in the next Sangam Yuga, again, you will not get that limited property also. So you don't have to justify your sins of thought, word, and act. You have to look at them and just see what Baba is giving me. And my concern is to take full inheritance from Baba. So let me just work on myself. And Baba says, when you become like this, then jewels will emerge from your mouth. Now, what is a jewel? So, a jewel is again, in this world of lies, even jewels are false. So, what looks like a jewel is not a jewel in this world. So, artificial shines better than the real. So, Baba says, in this world, people don't know what jewels mean. And what is a jewel of knowledge? A jewel of knowledge is something that, makes us all knowledgeful, loveful, powerful. Srimad is a jewel. But Baba says, you give jewels. Now you see, let alone jewels emerging from mouth. Let's start from the very basic things. I have seen that most Brahmins also, they don't know where it is their place to speak and where it is not their place to speak. If you're speaking out of turn, if you're speaking out of place, then how can you even think that, jewels will emerge from my mouth? Yes, I've seen that, uh, I've seen Brahmins also giving opinion about a duty that they have not been entrusted to. I have not given, you have not been given that duty. Somebody else is doing that duty, but you are commenting on that. And you are not the nimit. You are not the one in charge. It is neither your duty nor are you in a supervisory role, but you still have an opinion about it. Then you just think about the amount of waste thinking you're doing. Yes, you're sitting in front of a screen and having an opinion about how a batsman is playing. Waste thought, completely waste thought. So just think about, if this is the condition, if I don't know when to speak, what about to speak, what is my place to speak, what is not my place to speak, and I'm speaking in places where I'm not invited to speak, then that speaking, churning jewels of wisdom from the mouth is a far cry. I think, more than how to speak and when to speak, you must know when to keep quiet. Because when you don't know where to keep quiet, when to keep quiet, then most of the times your speaking is very unnecessary. So what should you speak, and where is your place to speak? And then when you are speaking, what is your aim and object? Are you speaking about what's wrong with you, or are you speaking about what can you do about it? Yes, if you're just, whenever you open your mouth, you're just telling somebody what's wrong with you, then that's not speaking emerging jewels from your mouth. Or, if you're just, and if you are saying lies, if you are manipulating the truth, if you are hiding information and just sharing part of the information and trying to manipulate, these are all not ways of speaking in a jewel-like manner. That's not how you churn jewels out of your mouth. So just understand that when you are removing defects from within, only jewels will emerge from your mouth. Otherwise, you will always keep saying, my intention was good and I was misunderstood. No, you are not being misunderstood. You have to check what's wrong with your words that you're being misunderstood. If your words carry the vibrations of purity, if your words carry good intentions and your words are knowledgeful and powerful, they can never be misunderstood. Yes, somebody might feel that, yes, whatever you are saying, they can't do it right away, but they will not be misunderstood. So Baba says that you have to work on your inner world so that you churn jewels out of your mouth, because jewels are, even if nobody has the ability to appreciate it right now, but someday, in their heart, they will feel that whatever you said was very true and they need to work on it. So Baba says that always speak Srimad through the mouth. Don't point out defects and weaknesses, and let your tone also be sweet, and know what to speak. How to speak is another thing. What to speak is first. So, if you don't remove the lies and the criticism and everything, then it will show in your words. You cannot hide it. Yes. And have you seen people speaking lies for simple things? You ask them, where are you? They will say, they will give you a location which is 1 kilometer ahead of where they are. So why do you have to speak so much lies? If you're speaking so much lies, your words will never become jewels. Your words will never carry the vibration of truth in themselves. So Baba says that understand, check for defects, remove defects, become full of fragrance. Fragrance is virtues, and then speak jewels from your mouth, and also, give everybody the directions of how to become flowers. Okay, there are a lot of more points in the Murli. You churn on them, read the Murli many times. This will be all for today. Whatever, if anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Shanti Didi.
Shanti.
Today Baba is talking about tolerance power. He says, even though you might have to tolerate something, that's okay. You're not doing me a favor by tolerating. I am not getting anything out of it. It is just for your betterment you're doing it. And yesterday in Avyakt Murli, Bhaiji just gave a very beautiful point. He said, Sahin Shakti, if you're tolerating something, you should not lose your saralta. Saralta was the word. So that really touched me. What happened is, like, we might, at a different situation, we might have to tolerate, but then the pain is there, and that comes in the form of criticism. When I'm talking to someone about the other person, that comes out, that bitterness. So in that case, that is not a tolerance power. That was something he highlighted on.
Yes. So, and gradually it not only finishes your saralta, it also finishes your innocence. You also start becoming the one, if you think that you got affected by somebody's behavior, but you also start showing the same behavior because you have not tolerated it but absorbed it. So first it shows in your emotions, then it shows in your actions also. Okay. Okay, thank you. Om Shanti. Yes.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
From today's only what I understood. Just secondly. What I understood from today's movie is that Baba wants to say that being pregnant means being beneficial for the whole world, and other souls should also get benefited from me. And for this, I have to work over my defects first, finishing my defects by putting efforts of remembrance and working on Srimad. And sometimes I don't get the expression in some sentences of Murli. Then I immediately apply it to Lokik family and see what my son is doing. If he does this, then what I feel at that time. And I always keep on churning this also, how to make him understand. I make plans, I wait for him, and I think that I will today explain him like this, like this. Never giving up. And sometimes he get irritated and he explains me, ki seva is not done in this way. You should know where to speak, how much to speak, and go and learn from Didi first.
Okay, so you see, one thing you have to understand, seva is not a project. Okay, so what is the difference between a project and seva? When you take on a project, you keep evaluating every day. How much progress have I made? Yes, so that is what you start doing when you confuse between seva and a project.
Yes.
So you don't have to every day keep evaluating, whether they understood, whether they are imbibing, whether they are correcting themselves. Just understand that seva is done 0.001% with words, and others with vibrations and good wishes. So if you constantly keep evaluating what has been the effect of your words, then those good vibrations are lost, good wishes are lost. So, and
this is also one kind of attachment, Nandini.
yes.
Why we are so concerned about
Yes.
every step of another?
Yes, yes. So okay, that's fine. But we are all work in progress. We are every
Yes.
day recognizing what are the defects, and then when you are remembering Baba, take Baba's light and change that defect and change it into the virtue you want to have. And every day when you keep watering that virtue, then that defect will go away.
Yes.
Okay. Om
Thank you.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Didi, I have one question.
Yes.
When we are tolerating, like someone's behavior or words might have hurt me, but when I'm not reflecting it back in my actions to them, and you said that you should not lose your innocence. So how is both possible? Because you said that you don't even absorb it. So
because you don't tolerate, see, why are you tolerating? Not because you have to, because you can. Understand? See, I'm not tolerating because Baba asked me to tolerate. I'm tolerating because Baba is filling me with the power to tolerate. And I understand that whatever they are saying or doing is not worth thinking about. It is coming from a weak place. I don't have to think about it. So then you just don't absorb it. It's there, and you are not paying attention to it. Because you know that when you're making a choice, other person will have a reaction, and it's okay. You know? So you have to understand. मैंने किया तो उसने कहा ठीक है बराबर हुआ. ठीक है ना? Don't. So I should do it, and nobody should even speak about it. That's not done now. So if I'm making a choice, they have the choice to speak, they have the choice to react, and they are reacting, and it's okay. I will tolerate it, I will accept it. And then I will be the same loveful self with them, so that, after the reaction, what happens after the reaction? Next stage is acceptance. If there is no resistance from your end, gradually there will be acceptance from the other end. This is how you come to a place of equilibrium. But if they react and you react and then they react, then that chord is never, set. So you must understand that you're not tolerating because you have to. You're tolerating because you can. It's easy and it's fine. You understand. You're giving them the permission to react. Okay, so give everybody full permission to express all their emotions, and you stay unaffected by it. Okay, Om Shanti.